Hey Helen, thank you for joining us today. I'm really excited to speak to you. So before we sort of kick off, for everyone listening, please can you just tell us in a couple of minutes who you are, where you are, and what your portfolio looked like before we started working together.
Okay, so I am Helen. I live in Hong Kong. We've recently moved back about 2 years ago. So living the privileged expat life that we do here. We had started a portfolio back in 2018, one which we were very hands-on with back in the UK. So helping out with stripping rooms and very much kind of on the ground, involved in every project. Obviously, when we moved away back to Hong Kong, we weren't able to do that. So had listened to what yourself had done, traveling around and managing to grow and maintain and put processes into place whilst living abroad. And I thought, yeah, that's kind of the direction that our business needs to go in now. So that's when I reached out to you, and I kind of resonated a lot with what you were doing. I mean, we're in Hong Kong at the moment, but plans change and we may move about in the future. But what we wanted to do is take our business onto a new direction and have it so that it could support us wherever we were in the world or whatever we were doing. Um, and also we'd kind of been throwing a lot of our time and energy into a lot of jobs that obviously working with you, we've managed to put processes into place, and that has meant that I can prioritize my time with focusing on growing the business as opposed to working in the business. So
Mm.
yeah, so you've helped me um, put a road plan, a map in place to help me, yeah, look at it from a different direction as to working on the business as opposed to doing the meaningless tasks that I was getting involved with and heavily bogged down with, and it was taking my time. So yeah, so you've helped me over the past 12 months take it from a business that we were very much hands-on with, day-to-day um, tasks, and kind of guided me to help manage it abroad and make it part of our new life living away from the UK.
Wow, gosh, we did work together for a year, didn't we? I mean, so
Yeah.
just back to what was going on when you first met and some of the things that you transitioned through. So when we first met, just kind of like to sort of you know from to remind myself where you were really, you were running the portfolio, you were heavily involved in sort of like coordinating a lot of the tasks. You had some ground team, and you wanted a clear kind of roadmap, I suppose, to take you to where you wanted to go. Is that sort of
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So I'm originally from Preston, and that's where our portfolio has started and grown. We invest exclusively in Preston just because it's a market that I'm very comfortable with. But whilst I was back in the UK, yeah, it was essentially a bit of a part-time job for myself. So we'd had two children, and when I could and had the time, I would literally be on site, stripping back bathrooms. And the nature of who I am, I'm very much a control freak. And I was like, I need to be involved in everything. I need to have eyes and ears and sense of everything that's going on. And for me, that was like being on site at every renovation or every rental that we were doing. Everything needed to be perfect, and I needed to be in control. And I was literally running myself into the ground, even when I was in the UK. Looking back now, it was not a sustainable way to grow and manage a business. It was kind of satisfying my want to have control over things. But in terms of actually growing and running a business, I was so involved, I was almost losing sight of actually running a business and making wise decisions um, from a business point of view. So yeah, at the time, I've always wanted to be in property, and when I was back in the UK, that was kind of the direction. Life threw us a spanner, and my husband got a job out in Hong Kong, and it was like, right, okay, but I still want to do this because I see the benefits long term. I see the benefits of, it giving us a exit plan if something was to happen in Hong Kong and we wanted to move back to the UK or wanted to move to Spain or somewhere else. It gives me time to be with the children, which I love being a mum. But as a mum, I also need to use my brain and need to have projects. I need to have that something that I can work on and have sight on. So yeah, so it was, oh goodness, I've lost the trail of thought now. So working with you, as I say, definitely helped me from where I was to actually stepping back, putting processes in place, and really kind of going, well, what do I want from this business? Because there's so much noise about property and you go on Instagram and you're like, oh God, I need to be doing HMOs. Well, we've always just done single lets and refurbs. And we've had great success, but some days I was going down the rabbit hole of like, I need to do HMOs because everyone I'm looking at is doing HMOs. So working with you was a real soundboard to go in, well, what do you like doing? Well, we like doing the single lets. For us, it works. Our business model works. It's where we've got experience. It's what we're good at. So you helped me just to refocus and make a plan as to where we were going and stick to that. Because I'm sure during our time, we had conversations and it was, oh, should I be doing this, Julie? And you're like, no, let's go back to the plan. Is that where and we'd talk through it. And I'd come off there and I'd feel a lot calmer about things. It also gave me someone to be accountable to. I feel with property, it can be quite a lonely journey. And I bore my husband senseless. And you can tell, he has those glazed eyes looking back at me going, oh, yeah, okay. But it's my passion. It's what I know. It's what I love doing. But sometimes you need to be accountable to somebody. Sometimes you just need someone to run something past. And is this a wild idea? Is this a good wild idea? Or should I stick to what I know? And often you just need to stick with, repeat what you've been doing, put processes in place to just really harness in on what your strengths are. And you've definitely helped me to do that. I can get distracted very easily, especially days where I'm spending on Instagram and I'm like, oh, I should be doing that, I should be doing that. But actually just repeating what I've done and where my experience lies was where I needed to channel it and just refine processes and make everything a bit sharper and a bit clearer and working better, which is definitely what you helped me to achieve.
And it's hard, isn't it? It really is hard and almost like boring doing the thing that we've done and repeating it and getting better and better at it. And I really, I really admire how you've seen other opportunities, but and it's hard to like stick with the thing that because but it's a wise choice, like you say, because you've got so much other stuff going on in your life that you wanted to focus on, and you've made those decisions that no, my family is important and I want to have time for this, and you are such a boss at your niche, your strategy, and repeating it. So it's been really special. I really admire how you've kind of like kept bringing yourself back to that to your strategy and just getting better and better at it. So I suppose our question next there would be, having taken those steps, like what have you been able to achieve? What does your business look like now, and what are you starting to look at next?
We've grown the business since working with you. We put a plan in place to purchase X amount of properties, and we set out on that journey last year, and we've achieved that, which is good because that's added to the growth of our property and increased our cash flow, which is where we want to go. We've been in property long enough to realise we're not going to make £10,000 overnight. Our journey is going to be a long-term sustainable growth. And we put a plan in place, broke it down so it wasn't too daunting, because I think I sometimes get overwhelmed by the enormity of where you need to take a business and in order for it to grow. So we broke it down and worked on it. We had our calls and action plans. So that definitely helped, because it wasn't, oh, I need to buy X amount of properties next week. We broke it down into manageable month by month steps. So that helps, because suddenly the task doesn't seem as daunting as looking at it on paper. I need to get here by the end of the year. Suddenly, if you break it down into actionable steps, smaller steps, it was so much more easy to go at, and fitted around family life as well. Because sometimes, we've just discovered, well, as we had last week, a child's sick, and that takes a week away, and so suddenly, it kind of broke it down, and we were able to achieve what we wanted to. And it was nice to look back on the end of the year and think, oh yeah, it wasn't as bad as it wasn't too stressful. It was manageable, and we managed to grow the business in a way, as I say, a lot more focused. I think having that breakdown as well, like we were really managing to buy property that fitted within our strategy, as opposed to going out and being like, I need to buy all these properties, and then actually looking back and going, oh, that one doesn't really fit. Or so yeah, so that helped. The just having that accountability, I think, was a huge thing for us. We've also started a sourcing side of the business, so which is one thing that you definitely helped me along the way with. As I say, property, I love it. I'm very passionate about it. I will bore anybody to death about property, especially in Preston. I feel like I'm a real geek when it comes to property in Preston. But it can be very lonely. And, we're not talking about small decisions here. Buying a house and investment, it's a large amount of money, and that accountability lies on your shoulders. So being able to talk about and being accountable for things was a huge thing. The sourcing side of things, you actually sat me down and realized I know more than I know. And you helped me with my confidence, and looking back and actually reflecting on the work that we've done, and saying, look, this is quite a unique offering, and your position being based in Hong Kong, you'll probably have people that you talk about, talking with, and they're discussing property, and they would be interested. And actually, I was having those conversations with people, and people are like, oh yeah, we like what you do, and oh, Preston, yeah, I've heard a bit about that. That's one of the places to invest in. But you gave me the next step to take the next step, which is helping other people do what we've done in the UK. So we're working with a client at the moment, which is very exciting. And as I say, you helped me a lot with gaining the confidence to realize I know more than I think I know, and to put it into practice and to make it, another income stream, which is exciting. And so you've helped me both ways. I've grown the business, and also helping with me establishing a sourcing company, which I would never have done. I always kind of shied away from it. Oh, I don't know that much, or my experience doesn't count for anything. Well, I'm not selling, I'm selling what I know and what I've done. And I've got plenty of experience, good and bad, that I share with people, and so it's helped me twofold.
Yeah, and what I love about the whole time of us working together is, we put together this roadmap, for you at the start, and sourcing was on there, right? And the great thing with plans is that they're not there for us to live or die by. They're there to use as a guide. And if we need to move things around, like, that's okay. And we did move things around in your plan and do things at different times. But like you say, you did the things that you wanted to do, and you've now got your own, your virtual property machine, which you've taken from being non-virtual because you were there doing everything yourself. You've made it
Yes, yeah,
with an extreme step of taking yourself thousands of miles away, but
yeah,
you forced yourself to do it. You've made your property machine a virtual machine, and now you're using that machine to not only grow your own portfolio, but to grow other people's portfolios as well, and to help
yeah,
them. They've maybe not got the passion or the interest that you've got, and also create a sort of interest create this other income stream as well. But surrounding all that, you've got this, like, what's most important for you is the time freedom and the location freedom, right? You want to be with your family in Hong Kong where life is, and you want to maintain time freedom to be present for them. So everything that you're doing, the striving for the financial side, that time and location freedom has been front and center for you. And
yeah.
yeah, it's just been a privilege to see you, make the hard choices, work on your plan, change things around, and just dig deep and deliver and do everything that you've done in the last year. I'm just really excited for you, for the clients who come to work with you next, for you growing their portfolio, and they're going to have like some really great assets because, like I say, you're such a boss at your niche and your strategy. So yeah, I'm very excited for you.
Thank
So
you very much.
well done. And
Thank you.
my last question would be, who would you recommend working with me, and who would you recommend? To? What sort of stage would you think people should be working with me at?
Oh goodness. Well, obviously for us, I listened to you on a podcast, and what resonated for me was the fact that you were working abroad and that you'd managed to put processes and systems in place that could enable you this location freedom. And then having moved abroad, I was like, oh, that's the next step for me. That's what I need to do. So I'd definitely say anybody, looking to move or looking to work away from where their portfolio is based, definitely. But then looking back, I wish I'd known you from day one, because actually like the processes make everything more streamlined. And sometimes we were having conversations, and I could hear myself sometimes, and I'm going, oh, maybe I need to do this, and I need to do this, and maybe I need to do a design course. And you really centered me back to being task orientated and really making sure I'm using my time the best way I can. And sometimes that might be outsourcing a task, or sometimes it might be looking at a task and thinking, how can I make that better, or just work for me better. So had I have had that from the beginning, goodness knows where I'd be right now. But um, I think that is, even if you're working in the location where you invest, you have some fantastic ideas on how to streamline and make a business work more efficiently. I know your background is in consultancy and processes, and you can really tell, because you literally everything that I'm sitting there and going, oh, I don't want to do my accounts. You would come back to me and say, well, how can you make this a process, a system? How can you outsource this? How can you? So having that, because inevitably, as your business grows, we're not going to be able to do everything. And being okay. You don't have to lose. I think one thing we talked about and we discussed a lot was, I always felt like me putting a system in place and asking people for help was a sense of losing control. But you reminded me, actually, no, because you have better control because you've put a system in place, and you're working on making sure that it's something like accounts, that it's done routinely, and that you have a process that is black and white and there's no gray areas. So yeah, so I honestly, obviously, people moving abroad and wanting location freedom, you've helped me hugely with being okay with not having to go to site every day, not having to do every viewing, and that there are ways around growing a business and growing a portfolio like that. But also for anyone just in the UK, literally on your doorstep, I wish I'd put processes in place that we've talked about years ago, because the amount of time that I've spent on very minimal, tasks that bring in no money, that don't move the business forward, spent so long. And I'm a real sucker for something like that, just drawing me in. And I spent hours on it, and you come away from the end of the day and you think, wow, the dial's not moved any, we've not moved this business any further, but I've got a great logo now, and it's like, what's important here? Like you say, responding to emails, doing viewings, working on some cost analysis, or spending a whole day choosing colours for a logo. That's where, as I say, I think had I've known you years ago, my business would look a lot different now. But you've really helped me the last 12 months to prioritize time, even down to, setting task time, setting my timer on my clock, on my phone, and just going, right, I'm just going to give this task 20 minutes. Just things like that you've really helped me with. Because at the end of the day, what are we doing this for? I'm doing it for time freedom, location freedom. So I don't want to be sat doing tasks that don't move it forward all day. It's prioritizing where my time needs to be. So you really, really helped me with that. So yeah, so anybody looking to systemize their business a bit better, to get to be able to free up their time to focus more on tasks that bring in the money, the tasks that move the business forward. Yeah, you really helped me with that as well. So.
Oh, Helen, it's just thank you, and I'm so excited for you and for your clients who are just going to benefit from your machine and the properties that you're going to create. And the homes, then the really good homes that other people are going to get to live in. It's just such a virtuous circle, and for you to be able to do more of that through us working together is a really is joyful for me as well. So thank you.
Yeah.
So to anybody else listening to this, if this sounds awesome to you, if you want to be doing something similar, then please drop me a message, say freedom, and let's see what the right next step is for you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, let me stop recording. Okay, don't go anywhere.